it comes to smartphone photography, Google's Pixel phones have generally been regarded as being up there with the very best. This owes largely to Google's impressive software capabilities. But with the Pixel 4, Google have added a heap of new strings to its bow. So obviously, I took it out and about to see what it can do. Now, before we get into this, don't forget that the Google Pixel 4 is now shipping from Clove Technology, as well as the 4XL, starting at $619.44 VAT, so go and check that one out. Before we take a look at the results, let's first see what specs the Pixel 4 is packing. This is the first Pixel device that actually comes with a dual lens rear setup, which consists of a 12 megapixel primary sensor with an f1.7 aperture, a 77-degree field of view, optical image stabilization, and a 27mm equivalent focal length. This is alongside a 16 megapixel secondary lens, with an f2.4 aperture, 2x optical zoom, OIS, and a 50mm equivalent tele lens. The Pixel 4 recently received a DxO Mark camera score of 112, making it one of the top 10 devices in terms of smartphone photography currently on the market. But let's see if you agree. Now, Google actually utilises both of these lenses for a whole plethora of tasks, making use of the data by both for some great pictures in different conditions. AI capabilities have long been at the heart of Pixel devices, and this continues with the Pixel 4. Fast and accurate autofocus ensures in-focus shots in all lighting, whilst colours in general are very lifelike and bold. Now, I really like the images that I've taken, as even the most intricate of areas are sharp. And importantly, you can shoot in photographer-friendly formats such as RAW. The HDR capabilities of Pixel devices have always been impressive, and the Pixel 4's HDR Plus capabilities are so quick that it can adjust in real time, rather than waiting for you to physically take the image and weaving the exposures together. The HDR preview is pretty accurate, and effectively keeps details from darker areas without losing the associated shadow. A new dual exposure control is absolutely brilliant, and allows you to manually adjust brightness and shadow brightness at the same time. The result is really effective and still retains all those important details that you want to capture. Google's new Telephoto Lens gives you the option of 2x optical zoom, which produces the quality imagery that you might expect. However, Super Res Zoom, as seen on the previous Pixel models, has also been included for magnification at up to 8x. Super Res Zoom is actually entirely software powered, and whilst other digital zoom techniques work by upscaling a crop of a single image, Super Res Zoom works by merging several frames into one high-resolution picture. Now, the result is fantastic and significantly sharper than many other similar devices. Colours are still pretty lifelike, and there's still such an impressive amount of detail. Would you agree? When taking portrait images with bokeh, the overall image quality is generally very good. With such smart software, these shots can be processed extremely quickly, which really is vital when considering the fine margin between a blurred image and a fantastic shot. Now, as expected, these smarts work most effectively when there is a clear edge to your subject, whilst the Pixel 4 is also able to add more natural blur to distant subjects. Now, the lack of a dedicated depth sensor does put it at a slight disadvantage, but on the whole, I think portrait photography on the Pixel 4 is very good, with pleasant exposure and skin tone rendering. Moving on to low light photography, and Google's dedicated night sight mode has won praise in previous Pixel devices, and I've been really impressed with the results of the Pixel 4. Night sight has its own dedicated option within the camera app, and works by taking several snaps of the same image. Indeed, if your device is still, more time will be spent capturing available light. If your Pixel 4 is moving, or if there's movement within your scene, then AI smarts will use shorter exposures, capturing less light to minimise the blur. I really am astounded by this feature, picking out details that I couldn't even get close to spotting with the naked eye. Astrophotography mode is, however, new to Pixel devices, and captures the stars in a very similar way. However, it requires your Pixel 4 to be completely still at all times. Now, this is because it actually spends up to 4 minutes capturing 16 15-second exposures to capture maximum light, producing astrophotography that's usually only seen from a DSLR. I mean, I live in a town with light pollution, but even so, the results from what I've taken were outstanding, all things considered. If selfies are more up your street, then interestingly, the Google Pixel 4 has ditched the second front camera in favour of a single shooter. This is an 8 megapixel sensor with an f2.0 aperture and a 22mm equivalent focal lens. Whilst you may have lost the wider secondary lens of the Pixel 3, this lens is set to a 90-degree field of view, which is noticeably wider than the standard 70-degree, so you should still be able to fit more people into your selfie shots. There are slight depth estimation errors when shooting within portrait mode that can tend to blur out the odd strand of hair or earlobe, but in general, selfies are very good with a wide dynamic range and true-to-life colouring. Last but not least, the Google Pixel 4 is capable of shooting 4K video at only 30 frames per second. Stabilisation is excellent thanks to a gyro-based stabilisation system, but colours aren't as lifelike as you might see from other similar devices. If you'd rather shoot at 60 frames per second, then you're looking at 1080p, which many might not necessarily notice a difference between. If you want to shoot from the front camera, then this also goes down further, shooting 1080p at 30 frames per second. So if you're looking at purchasing the Google Pixel 4 due to its camera capabilities, then I certainly don't think you'll be disappointed. Google's software capabilities are simply immense, and the Pixel 4 can take a wide range of detailed images in a huge range of situations. So what it lacks in a wide-angle lens, which I know many of us were disappointed about, I certainly think it makes up for elsewhere. Now, don't forget the Google Pixel 4 is now shipping from Clove Technology, as well as the 4XL, starting at $619.44 VAT, so go and check that one out. Now, make sure you subscribe to our channel for all of the latest news and reviews, and I'll catch you again soon.